I'm Mystery Shy, and welcome to my very first rapid-fire manga review. I read a lot of manga. No, really, a lot of manga. And I don't want to waste my time reading something I don't enjoy. The first volume establishes the genre and tone, and introduces you to the various characters and the world that they exist in. To me, the first book is a challenge. It's show me what you got. That's why the first volume is so important. It has to really grab me and make me want to read the rest of the series. So today I'm going to be giving my honest opinion on some of the more recent books that I've read. Please keep in mind, I have only read the first volume. If it's one of those series where it takes several books to really get you into it and get you hooked, well, I don't know. There are cases where the first book is very different from the rest of the series. So, for example, I really liked the first volume of Ari Ferretta. It was very edgy and serious. And then after that, it kind of turned into more of your generic anime harem. At the end of each of my reviews, I will be giving a score out of 10. A score of 4 or below? That's some real trash. I wish I didn't spend my time and money on it. Any score of a 9 or a 10? That is perfection. That is one of the best manga I have ever read. So stuff like Apothecary Diaries or Spy Family would fall under that category. Just because I can already usually gauge whether I'm going to like something or not, most of my scores will probably fall in the middle of this spectrum. The first book I'm going to be reviewing is The Strange House. The story is by Uketsu, and the art is by Kyo Ayano. Interestingly, this manga seems like it also has a horror film called The Floor Plan that is based on the same story. The main character is a freelance writer who specializes in the occult. They're approached by an acquaintance who discovered an unusual floor plan while house hunting. The inconsistencies and odd features of the house could be explained away, or they could point to something much more sinister. What drew me to this book in the first place was just how unique the premise was. It really embodies the idea of finding horror in the mundane. As the story progresses, you wonder if the characters are just letting their imagination get the best of them, because they make some really wild speculations. But occasionally, there is evidence to back it up. The Strange House is a super enjoyable read, and I was just absolutely hooked. I'm really looking forward to reading Volume 2. For that reason, I give it an 8 out of 10. Okay, this book technically isn't a manga, but I'm going to include it anyway. The book is Not-Sew-Wicked-Stepmom by Mo9 Rang, and original story by Iru. Not-Sew-Wicked-Stepmom is a villainess isekai where the main character is basically Snow White's evil stepmother. Originally, the main character was a children's clothing designer who died from overwork. Now, she is Her Majesty Abigail Friedkin, the materialistic and spiteful woman who is the stepmother of Princess Blanche. The goal of the new Abigail is to shower Blanche with as much love and positivity as she can. But I'm gonna be real with you, the main character, she's a lot. Like, she needs to find other hobbies. Her love for Blanche kind of teeters into the realm of obsession. The plot of Not-Sew-Wicked-Stepmom is a bit more complex and interesting than some of the other villainess isekai that I've read. The original Abigail was actually believed to have been murdered, so the suspect is still out there somewhere. King also seems pretty traumatized by his first marriage to Blanche's mother, and I'd be really interested to learn more about that, as well as to see where his relationship goes with the new Abigail. Last but not least, the full-color artwork is really gorgeous, and you can tell that they actually cared to put all of the detail into it, including several backgrounds. Not-Sew-Wicked-Stepmom gets about a 7 out of 10 for me. Next up, we have Villainess Level 99. I may be the hidden boss, but I'm not the demon lord. The manga is by Nocomi, the original story by Tanabata Satori, and the character design is by T. A lot of people have a negative opinion of isekai, which is not entirely unwarranted. There's plenty of bad isekai out there, and oh boy, have I read a lot of it. On the whole, I've found that otome game isekais have the ability to spread past their initial tropes and cliches and become something more original. Unfortunately for Villainess Level 99, that isn't really the case. The main character is a Japanese college student who is reborn as the 5-year-old Yumelia Dolkness. Although she is a noble, she's subject to incredible social stigma because her black hair is considered a symbol of evil. With her knowledge of how poorly her life can pan out in the game, she dedicates her entire childhood to becoming as strong and powerful as she can. This ultimately comes back to bite her, because when she attends the Royal Academy, instead of being able to hide in the background, she gets thrust into the forefront. No matter how much she tries to avoid them, the love interests have it out for her. I really struggled to get through this book, mostly just because it's very predictable. Also, the main character is insanely pragmatic. She has very little emotion and feels kind of robotic. Nothing in the first volume really wowed me, and for that reason I give it a 6 out of 10. The last book I'm going to be reviewing today is Gokurakugai by Yuto Sano. I originally discovered this series because of the manga sampler I got at the 2024 Anime Expo. Gokurakugai is a supernatural action series following Alma and Tao, who run a troubleshooting business, but their main focus is hunting down human-devouring monsters. These monsters are called disaster beasts, or Manga. No, not the red hat-wearing kind. Manga are created by resurrecting corpses. Alma is actually half Manga, and uses his abilities to fight the monsters and protect people. Gokurakugai just kind of throws you right into the story. It doesn't spend a lot of time giving you background, and so it's kind of hard to tell what the world of the story is like. For example, it just kind of throws you into the fact that beastmen exist, and that they're common in normal society. Personally, I love this kind of storytelling, because then you don't have these massive info dumps with paragraphs upon paragraphs telling you everything. You have to kind of pick it up by yourself as you read. The characters are also super delightful, and everything just feels very fleshed out. I also love the artwork because it's super intricate and detailed, and for that reason, it is an easy 8 out of 10. Well, that's all the manga I have for now. If you have any suggestions for a series I should look into, write it in the comments. See you next time!